I need to confess something. For 6 months in 2021, I pretended to be rich. Not for fun, for research. I got a $30,000 bonus from my company that year. And instead of investing it or saving it, I used it as a budget to see what wealthy people's lives are actually like. I leased a BMW 5 Series, joined an expensive country club in Scottsdale, bought designer clothes, started going to the places rich people go, got invited into their social circles. And what I learned in those 6 months completely changed how I see wealth. The people who looked the richest were almost always broke. The actual millionaires looked completely ordinary. And the moment I stopped trying to look rich, I started actually building wealth. This is a story of what happens when you infiltrate the world of wealthy people and discover most of them aren't actually wealthy at all. If you've ever wondered what rich people are really like, or if looking successful actually makes you successful, stay with me, because what I discovered will save you years and thousands of dollars. My name is Mike, and I make videos about real money experiments and what actually works. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. This is what happened when I spent 6 months pretending to be something I'm not. Let me set the scene. It's March 2021. I'm 32 years old, working in operations management, making about $85,000 a year. I get a bonus, $30,000 after taxes. Biggest windfall I've ever had. My wife and I are sitting at our kitchen table talking about what to do with it. The smart move is obvious. Invest it. Put it in our index funds. Let it grow. But I have this weird idea. I say, what if we use this as a research budget? What if I pretended to be rich for 6 months and documented what I learned? My wife thinks I'm crazy, but she's also curious. We agree. 6 months. $30,000 budget. See what happens. If the experiment produces valuable insights, it's worth it. If not, we lost $30,000 but learned an expensive lesson. Now pause and hit that like button if you've ever been curious what wealthy people's lives are actually like. Because what I'm about to share is going to shock you. And make sure you subscribe, because this experiment led to discoveries I'm still using 3 years later. Month 1, April 2021. I lease a BMW 5 Series. $850 a month for 36 months. I joined Desert Ridge Country Club. $600 a month membership plus a $3,000 initiation fee. I buy new clothes. Nothing crazy expensive, but better than my usual Target stuff. Some nice button-downs from Nordstrom. A few pairs of slacks. A decent watch. Not a Rolex, but nice enough. Total spend month 1, about $6,000. I start going to the country club, playing golf, having drinks at the bar, meeting people. And within 2 weeks, I get invited to a networking event. It's a happy hour for entrepreneurs and executives. I go. This is where it gets interesting. I walk into this event and immediately feel like I don't belong. Everyone's dressed well. Everyone's confident. Everyone's talking about their businesses, their investments, their second homes. I'm trying to blend in. Someone asks me what I do. I tell them I work in operations. They nod politely and move on. Not impressive enough. So I start embellishing a bit. I say I'm consulting on operations optimization for tech companies. Suddenly, I'm more interesting. People want to talk to me. I get invited to golf. I'm in. Over the next 2 months, I meet probably 30 to 40 people in this wealthy social circle. And here's the first thing I notice. The people who talk the most about money had the least of it. The flashiest guys, the ones with the newest cars, the biggest watches, the loudest stories about their success, were almost always leveraged to the maximum, leasing everything, financing everything, looking rich but broke underneath. I could tell because they casually mentioned things. Yeah, I need to close this deal this month or I'm screwed. Oh, my MX bill is brutal right now. Little cracks in the facade. If you're starting to see the pattern, smash that like button right now, because it gets crazier. And drop a comment telling me if you've ever noticed the same thing about people who flaunt wealth. Month 3, June 2021. I'm deeper in now. I've been invited to a private poker game. $500 buy-in. I go, and this is where I meet Tom. Tom is probably 58 years old. Drives a 2015 Toyota Camry. Wears a Casio watch. Doesn't talk much. Just plays poker quietly. After the game, we're having drinks. I asked Tom what he does. He says he's retired. Used to run a small manufacturing business. Sold it 5 years ago. I asked him how retirement is. He smiles and says, "It's great. I do whatever I want. Play poker. Golf twice a week. Travel. No stress." Later that night, one of the louder guys at the poker table pulls me aside. Says, "You know Tom manages over $200 million in assets for his family office, right? Guy's worth probably $8 to $10 million personally." I'm stunned. Tom looked like the least wealthy person there. Camry, Casio watch. Quiet. Meanwhile, the guy telling me this is driving a leased Mercedes G-Wagon and struggling to make his lease payments. That conversation changed everything for me. I started paying close attention, and I realized the actual wealthy people in this country club were almost invisible. They didn't talk about money. They didn't wear flashy stuff. They didn't try to impress anyone. Meanwhile, the people trying hardest to look wealthy were the ones barely hanging on financially. Hit that like button again if this is confirming something you've always suspected, because what I learned next is the most important part. Month 4 and 5, July and August 2021. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. I'm spending $3,200 a month on this lifestyle. BMW lease $850. Country club $600. Golf, drinks, dinners, events, another $800. New clothes and maintaining the image, $400. Parking, gas, all the little costs, $550. I'm burning through my $30,000 budget fast. And here's what bothers me. I'm not enjoying it. The conversations are shallow. Everyone's trying to one-up each other. The golf is fine, but I could play at a public course for $50 instead of $150. The BMW drives nice, but my paid-off Honda drove fine too. I'm paying $3,200 a month to impress people I don't even like. And the people I actually respect, like Tom, aren't impressed at all. One day I'm having lunch with Tom at the club. He asked me how business is going. I'm honest. Tell him I work in operations, not consulting. Tell him about this experiment. He laughs, says, "I figured you didn't belong here. You're too nice. Most people here are trying so hard to look successful, they forgot to actually be successful." I ask him what he means. He says, "Mike, the moment you stop trying to look rich is the moment you can start becoming rich. All the money you spend on appearances is money that can't work for you. I drove Toyotas my whole life, lived in a normal house, never joined clubs like this until after I retired and sold my business. I built wealth quietly while everyone else was building appearances loudly." That conversation hit me hard. I realized I was doing exactly what Tom warned against, spending money on appearances instead of building actual wealth. I had $18,000 left in my budget, 2 months left in my 6-month experiment. I made a decision. Month 6, September 2021. I canceled everything, turned in the BMW lease, paid the early termination fee, quit the country club, forfeited the membership, sold the fancy clothes, went back to my Honda and my Target wardrobe, took the $15,000 I had left and invested it in index funds. The experiment was over. And here's what I learned. Comment right now and tell me, have you ever spent money trying to look successful instead of actually building success? Be honest. I want to know if this resonates. The people who look rich are usually broke. The flashiest cars, the biggest houses, the loudest bragging. It's almost always a cover for financial insecurity. I met probably 10 guys driving 6-figure cars. 8 of them were leasing. 5 of them mentioned financial stress. They were trapped in an image they couldn't afford. Meanwhile, the actual millionaires drove Hondas and Toyotas, wore normal clothes, didn't talk about money. They were quiet, confident, and free. Trying to look rich is expensive. I spent $15,000 in 6 months maintaining an image. That's $30,000 a year. Over 10 years, that's $300,000 plus opportunity cost. If I had invested that $30,000 instead of spending it, it would be worth about $52,000 today at 8% average return. I paid $30,000 to learn that looking rich prevents you from becoming rich. Real wealthy people don't try to impress you. Tom had $8 million, drove a Camry, wore a Casio, Didn't care what anyone thought. The guys leasing G-Wagons and wearing Rolexes had negative net worths. They cared desperately what people thought, and that desperation kept them broke. The country club was full of broke people. I thought joining a country club meant being around wealthy people. Wrong. It was full of people spending $600 a month. They couldn't afford to look wealthy. The actual wealthy people were at public golf courses paying $50 and investing the difference. Here's the most important lesson. The moment I stopped trying to look rich, I started building wealth. That $15,000 I invested in September 2021 is worth $26,000 today. If I had kept pretending to be rich for 3 years, I'd have spent $115,000 on appearances and have nothing. Instead, I look ordinary and I'm building wealth. Tom was right. You can't look rich and be rich. You have to choose. 3 years later, here's where I am. I drive the same 2016 Honda CR-V, shop at the same Target. Never joined another country club. But that $15,000 I invested is now $26,000. Plus the $30,000 a year I would have wasted on appearances has gone into investments. Over 3 years, that's $90,000 invested. At 8% average return, it's worth about $105,000 today. Meanwhile, if I had kept the lifestyle, I'd have spent $115,000 and have nothing. The math is clear. I still see Tom occasionally. We play golf at public courses. $50 a round. He told me something recently that stuck with me. He said, "Mike, I spent 30 years looking boring so I could spend 30 years being free." Most people spend 30 years looking rich so they can spend 30 years working to maintain the image. You figured it out in 6 months. That's a cheap education. Hit that like button one final time if this experiment just taught you something about real wealth versus fake wealth. And subscribe because I'm making more videos about money experiments, real wealth, and what actually works. Here's my advice if you're tempted to look wealthy. Don't. Drive a boring car. Live in a normal house. Wear normal clothes. Invest the difference. Build wealth quietly. In 10 to 20 years, you'll have real wealth while everyone who looked rich will still be broke and stressed. I learned this lesson for $30,000. Tom learned it over 30 years. You can learn it right now for free by just watching this video and making different choices. The flashiest person in the room is usually the brokest. The quietest person is usually the richest. And trying to impress people is the fastest way to stay poor. Those are the lessons from 6 months of pretending to be rich. Don't make my mistake. Build wealth. Don't fake it.